Picture a woman alone in a sprawling city, grappling with the loss of everything that gave her life meaning, drowning in grief and uncertainty. At the story's climax, a radiant light of hope envelops her in a moment of revelation, like a sunbeam piercing dark clouds, unveiling a divine purpose amid the chaos surrounding her. This is the heart of our story today, a moving ode to spiritual resilience, where hope becomes the force guiding through the darkest nights. Hello, friends of Tales of Faith. I'm Elias, your faithful guide on this journey through stories that warm the heart and renew the soul. Shall we embark on this together, letting the words lead us to profound reflections and lasting inspiration? Our tale unfolds in the bustling streets of New York City, specifically in the Brooklyn neighborhood, where skyscrapers cast long shadows, and the city's relentless pace can suffocate even the strongest spirits. Here we meet Sarah Thompson, a 32-year-old single mother struggling with unemployment and depression after the sudden death of her husband Daniel in a car accident 2 years ago. Sarah was a passionate English teacher whose lessons inspired students with poetry and tales of triumph. But the 2020 pandemic devastated her career, closing schools and leaving her jobless. Her tiny one-bedroom apartment in Brooklyn, with peeling walls and worn furniture, echoed with the cries of her 5-year-old daughter Lily, a bright-eyed girl who sensed her mother's pain without understanding its cause. Bills piled up like insurmountable mountains, and hope felt like a distant dream, obscured by urban pollution, hiding the stars in the night sky. Sarah felt like a leaf swept by the wind, lost in a city that never paused to notice her struggle. Each day was a battle to keep food on the table, while loneliness and grief threatened to swallow her whole. The days dragged on like a heavy chain, each one bleaker than the last. Sarah woke with the weight of uncertainty, checking her bank account with trembling fingers, knowing the balance hovered near zero. Bills for rent, utilities, and groceries stacked up on the kitchen table beside Lily's colorful toys as she tried to cheer her mother with drawings of hearts and flowers. At night, Sarah prayed quietly, kneeling by Lily's bed, but her prayers were tinged with doubt, as if God were too far away to hear. She wondered if the faith that once sustained her still had the strength to guide her. One afternoon, while scrolling social media for job postings, Sarah received a message from Claire, a childhood friend now living in New Jersey. Claire invited her to join an online church service, promising the messages would bring comfort. Reluctant but desperate for any spark of light, Sarah agreed. During the service, the pastor spoke of hope as an anchor in stormy times, quoting Bible verses that resonated in Sarah's weary heart. The words felt like a divine whisper, rekindling a nearly extinguished flame. If you were in the midst of financial despair and the loneliness of a city that never stops, what would you do to keep the flame of faith alive? Would you keep praying, even without immediate answers, or seek signs of hope in small acts around you? Inspired, Sarah began volunteering at a local shelter for homeless families, helping serve hot meals and listening to others' stories of hardship. Each grateful smile, each conversation with strangers who became friends, reignited her sense of purpose. Though the future remained uncertain, these moments planted seeds of hope, suggesting that light could emerge even in Brooklyn's darkest streets. Weeks passed, and Sarah became a regular at the shelter, where the smell of warm soup and the sound of children's laughter created an oasis amid her personal storm. She noticed that helping others eased her own pain, as if each served plate was an answered prayer. Lily, often by her side, drew colorful cards for the shelter's guests, sparking smiles that warmed Sarah's heart. Yet financial uncertainty lingered, and nights were still marked by silent tears as she wondered how to shield Lily from an unstable future. During an online service, Sarah heard a story about a woman who found purpose amid loss, guided by hope in God. The message struck her deeply, but doubt still whispered, "What if hope isn't enough?" One night, walking through Brooklyn's noisy streets with sirens in the distance and neon lights flickering, she passed a community bookstore. There, she found an abandoned notebook with a handwritten phrase on the cover. "Hope is the courage to believe in tomorrow." The words stopped her cold, as if they were a sign. Imagine this happening in your life. How would you react to a small sign of hope amid chaos? Would you cling to it like a lifeline or keep doubting, trapped by the weight of the present? Sarah began writing in the notebook, jotting down moments of gratitude. Lily's smile, a stranger's kindness at the shelter, the beauty of a sunset between buildings. This habit became her anchor, helping her see that even in darkness, there were pinpoints of light. She decided to enroll in free online courses to update her teaching skills, determined to rebuild her career, guided by a growing hope that began to light her path. As Sarah dedicated herself to the shelter and her studies, her life began to take on contours of renewed purpose. She met Rosa, an experienced shelter volunteer whose hearty laugh and stories of overcoming loss inspired her. Rosa, who had lost a son to urban violence years earlier, shared how faith helped her turn grief into service. "Hope isn't waiting for everything to fix itself," Rosa said. "It's trusting God's working even in the mess." Those words became Sarah's mantra, helping her see her pain as fertile ground for growth. Yet reality remained harsh. An eviction notice arrived, threatening to take the apartment that was Lily's only home. Panic gripped Sarah, but she recalled the notebook. She wrote, "Today I don't know how I'll pay rent, but I know I'm not alone." She started sharing her story with other volunteers who rallied to help with food donations and job leads. Have you ever faced a moment where hope felt fragile against a real threat? How did you find strength to keep going, even with an uncertain future? Sarah landed a part-time job as an online tutor, a small step that boosted her confidence. She also began teaching poetry to kids at the shelter, using words to help them express their pain. Lily, proud of her mum, started reciting simple poems, bringing joy to all. These small triumphs, though modest, were like stars shining in the urban night, showing Sarah that hope didn't need grand victories to be real. It just required believing each day brought a new chance. Over time, Sarah's life began to stabilize, though challenges lingered. The tutoring job brought modest income, enough to negotiate with the landlord and avoid eviction. She continued at the shelter, now leading a support group for single mothers, where she shared her journey and listened to others' stories of resilience. Faith, once shaky, became a compass, guided by online sermons and the support of Rosa and the community. A new hurdle emerged when Lily fell ill with a respiratory infection, requiring costly medical care. Fear haunted Sarah again, but she clung to hope, praying fervently while holding Lily's hand in the hospital. The shelter community mobilized, raising funds to cover medical costs, a gesture that left Sarah in tears of gratitude. If you were leading a life marked by loss and uncertainty, how would you keep hope alive in a personal crisis? Sarah found strength in community, realizing hope often comes through others. Lily recovered, and Sarah, inspired, expanded her support group, creating writing workshops to help other mothers find their voice through pain. The notebook, now filled with reflections, became a symbol of her transformation. The city, with its noisy streets and relentless lights, no longer felt so oppressive. Sarah saw beauty in strangers' faces, in small kindnesses, and in her daughter's strength. As Brooklyn transformed with spring's arrival, with trees blooming in urban parks, Sarah reflected on her journey. The sorrow that once consumed her gave way to serene joy, and fear turned into courage to face the future. Lily, now 6, started attending a local school on a scholarship from a community organization, dreaming of becoming an artist, inspired by her mother. Sarah, strengthened, began leading online services, sharing messages of hope with others facing similar struggles. Her story spread through the neighborhood, inspiring residents to unite in community projects like urban gardens and fundraisers for needy families. Imagine this happening in your life. How would you use your pain, transformed into hope, to inspire others? Sarah saw her journey as a divine calling, a mission to light up lives with the same glow that guided her. The story neared its climax, where Sarah's hope would be publicly celebrated, touching hearts beyond her small family, like a beacon shining in the urban darkness. On a vibrant spring afternoon, during a community event in a Brooklyn park, with kids playing and gospel music ringing out, Sarah was invited to speak on an improvised stage. With Lily by her side, holding her hand, she shared her story. Losing her husband, battling unemployment, nearly losing their home, and how hope, nurtured by faith and community, guided her. Hope isn't the absence of darkness, she said, voice steady. It's the courage to believe the light will always come. The crowd, neighbors, shelter volunteers, and online church members applauded, tears in their eyes. Rosa hugged Sarah, calling her God's beacon. It was a moment of collective redemption, where hope triumphed over despair. Have you ever gone through something like this? What did you learn about the power of shared hope in community? The event sparked a community fund to support single mothers, and Sarah felt a profound peace, as if the sun shone within her soul, lighting the way for others. After the event, Brooklyn's community grew tighter, with volunteers organizing regular workshops and fundraisers. Sarah smiled, watching Lily run through the park with other kids, her laughter a symbol of renewal. She began working on a book project, using her notebook to write a memoir about hope, aiming to inspire readers beyond the borough. Sarah and Rosa founded a non-profit, Brooklyn Light, to support families in crisis, offering everything from financial aid to spiritual mentorship. The hope Sarah had cultivated now bloomed in others, like seeds scattered by the wind. The true climax was internal. Sarah slept peacefully, free from depression's weight, dreaming of a future where Lily would grow strong and confident. Years later, Sarah's apartment was a vibrant home, adorned with Lily's drawings and certificates from her courses. She published her book, a local hit that inspired readers across New York and beyond. Now a sought-after speaker, Sarah shared her story in churches and schools, stressing that hope is a daily choice, like opening a window to let light in. Lily, now a preteen, led an art club at the shelter, helping kids express their emotions. Sarah credited her transformation to faith and community, which sustained her in the darkest moments. If you were in her shoes, how would you pass this lesson of hope forward? Sarah's story showed that hope doesn't erase scars, but transforms them into beacons of inspiration. In moments of doubt, Sarah looked out at the city lights from her window, thanking God for the journey that shaped her. Faith had guided her through darkness, like a north star in an endless night. Her family, just her and Lily, grew in love, with bonds strengthened by adversity. Brooklyn, once an oppressive maze, was now a home full of possibilities. The climax came at an annual Brooklyn Light Festival, where Sarah and Lily were honored for their community contributions. Under colorful lights and applause, Sarah said, "Hope is the strength to rise, even when everything crumbles." The crowd was moved, and hugs sealed new friendships among former strangers. The resolution brought lasting peace. Sarah lived with gratitude, seeing the fruits of her hope, a thriving daughter, a united community, and a legacy of faith. The lesson prevailed. Hope, anchored in faith, lights up even the darkest corners. As the sun set over the skyscrapers, Sarah knew her story was an eternal testimony. Sitting with Lily, planning the next Brooklyn Light project, she felt deep gratitude for the journey that turned pain into purpose. Faith had triumphed, proving that, even in an urban jungle, hope can light the darkness, uniting hearts in a tapestry of love and resilience. Sarah's story reflects the power of hope, echoing Romans 5:3-5. Not only so, but we also glory in our sufferings, because we know that suffering produces perseverance. Perseverance, character, and character, hope. And hope does not put us to shame, because God's love has been poured out into our hearts through the Holy Spirit, who has been given to us. Sarah's journey shows how hope, nurtured by faith, transforms suffering into purpose, connecting her to a community that sustained her. Hebrews 6:19 reinforces, "We have this hope as an anchor for the soul, firm and secure." Sarah found this anchor in faith and community, proving hope is a divine force guiding through chaos. May this story inspire us to embrace hope in tough times. Lord, strengthen our faith to see your light in the darkness. Amen. May this story strengthen your faith. Share in the comments what you'd do if it were you. Share the video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications for more inspiring tales. Until next time, may God bless you.